Hi, ladies. Thank you, Joe Cherry, the Geek TV. Constance, I have a question for you. Season one was very much about Alma trying to save her father, but
Mhm.
season two is very much about Camilla, her mother, and her mother's past, her mother's pain, her
Mhm.
mother's secrets.
Mhm.
What can you tease for the fans, the viewers, what they can expect from your character in season two of Undone? And what is it like as an actress getting these scripts where your character has such a rich
Mm.
background and areas to explore compared to how she was in season one?
Well, it's very interesting that you asked that because season one, I wanted to know what made Camilla be the way that she was. I mean, sometimes she was so harsh and mean, and it would come off as funny because nobody should talk to their kids that way. But it was almost absurd, and you find a compassionate viewpoint of your character. But in season two, so much is revealed of the history of Camilla and what she's endured and how much she's suffered and generationally from her own family and the losses that she's had to deal with and what shaped her into the survivor that she is and how she had to muscle through no matter what as a single mom. You saw it in season one, but now you really understand a lot of the things that happened to her. And so much compassion, which I think is the gift of this show, is that it teaches you that people aren't just who they are on the surface. They really, each of us has our own damaged, rich, loving history that makes us who we are. So if we're just more compassionate towards each other, I think that is a wonderful way to look at this character.
Hiromi, you have the next question.
Hi, thank you for taking your time today. I'm curious, you've already used to be the rotoscope technique. So because you need to imagine what would be the scene. Mm.
So what is it like to work with rotoscope?
Yeah, and use your imagination.
And it's two things. It's both incredibly difficult. And I would say an acquired taste. It's maybe not for every actor, but it's also incredibly fulfilling. And maybe I would say personally, I think the best work I've ever done. Like it allows you to just kind of be free from all distractions on set. And you really just dive into the character, the words on the page, your journey. And it's almost meditative because you have to just imagine so much. And it's all like visual in your mind of what's going on around you. And it's exhilarating once you see the final product. In the moment, it feels insane. Like you're falling and you're going like this and there's no one around you and you're crying at your baby who's not even there. It's like
a
insane.
Doll. Yeah.
But it's like, and we look at each other, we're like, can you believe like what we're doing? This is so crazy. Like no one would believe it. But then when you see the final product, it's genius.
And I also think that I don't know, it makes us stronger actors.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we really have to embody it all. Even if you don't know what it's going to come out like, you're like, I'm going to have to go for it. And if they tell me that I'm dying and being reborn, well, and sit in a chair and just, okay, I'll do that.
It's like improv. You're like, yes. Okay. And you just do it. Like we learned very quickly in season one to just like trust the rotoscoping and just do it.
Right.
Jamie Steinberg, you have the next question.
Angelique, Alma and Becca seem to have a unique relationship with their mother where they feel comfortable confronting her about what they believe is going on.
Isn't that funny? I know.
Talk about what the writers express to you about where they feel that comfort, where they can just speak to their mom so brazenly.
I mean, I think the writers don't really speak to us about that, right? Like we just get the scripts in real time and that's what we're doing. And I think that if anything, it just speaks to this season. It's really about the sisters joining together, joining forces and like solving this crime or whatever, right? It's not crime, but like this secret. And so I feel like in season one, Becca's very buttoned up and kind of tight-laced and just like a mama's girl, but in season two, she's like on Becca's side. And when she discovers her powers she's like all in. And it was a really fun season to shoot because of that dynamic. And I think up until then, you never really saw Becca being like a bad girl. And those scenes where we confront mom and we're like, we know best. And we go on this like hunt to find out. I think it's so telling of a sibling relationship.
It's a crazy evolution. Like, especially Alma was trying to protect her father and help her father. And this season, both girls are trying to help me and figure out what's going on with me and champion my character.
Right.
And it's like they're the dynamic duo of therapy, rotoscoping adventurers, and they're going to unearth all the secrets of our family. And that really makes for some interesting television.
Jamie Ruby, you have the next question.
Hi, Jamie Ruby, Sci-Fi Vision. So can you both talk about what parts of the characters that you connect the easiest with and what you find the most difficult to connect?
Can I just, first of all, start with your background is fabulous.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
It's like, I'm nothing against you guys, but heard
That's
you bringing
awesome.
her A game, her science fiction A game.
I mean, I would say the easiest part for me to connect to Becca is her kind of like good girl, uptight side. And then where I am in my life personally as a mother in this industry, post-COVID, all of it is kind of like the not giving a crap and just like going into fully leaning into like the things I want to know and care about. And I think that that's where Becca ends up in this season, right? Like just kind of like throwing abandon to the wind to the abandon, whatever. And just like going all in. So I feel but the hardest thing for me is that I haven't ever really like confronted my parent, like especially my mom. I'm like a mama's girl. I was raised by my mom. So that part to me was weirdly a little tricky. And I had to kind of like discover that.
And for me, it was, Camilla has to deal with some heavy loss, some heavy realizations, some heavy mistakes and choices that she's made that have a huge impact on herself, her emotions, her family. And that was kind of a hard place to live as an actor, to embody all of these things. And it made me love her so much more because she survived a lot of the traumas and things that were given to her generationally, shame. All
you
that
have
kind
like
of
such
stuff.
compassion for her.
Yeah,
Like,
you really
broken.
embrace her and realize that broken people don't start off broken. Life happens to them, and that's what breaks them. And then you have compassion for them. And then you maybe next time you see them behaving in a way that might not be your favorite way, you're like, oh yeah, but I get what they're coming from. I don't have to agree, but I have compassion and understanding for their journey.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I very much enjoyed the season.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Joe, you have the next question.
Angelique, Becca is along for the ride this season. She's moved on from bartenders and now she's with her sister and she's out there. You've mentioned, she's discovered she's got powers. What is it like? And you both can answer this if you like, as actors in the Latinx community. What is it like working on a sci-fi show that doesn't historically have representation like this? The three lead female actresses, most of the cast, Latinx cast, with Bob Odenkirk sprinkled in there.
Right.
What's it like working on a show?
I mean, as
you're
explaining it, I am like getting chills because it's truly thrilling. It feels kind of groundbreaking. We were just discussing this, like both of us have never really been in the sci-fi world because there isn't really a space for Latinx actors in this world. So we're really excited by this opportunity. And I think it's really important.
It's not like we don't want to, it's just something happens to brown people in the future and we don't know because we're just never there.
We're never in the sci-fi world.
So for us who do comedy and drama and not so much sci-fi, for this inner nerd, because I watched Star Wars 7 times when it first came out back in the day when you had to pay money and sit in a movie theater to see it. I saw it 3 times in one day. That's how crazy I was. For my inner brown nerd, I am just so happy we have finally arrived to the future and that we can represent and also pave the way for younger people of color to see themselves in the future.
Represented. And I think it speaks very highly of Amazon for taking a leap of faith like this with a show like this that's never been done. It's not easy to make. It's not an easy story to tell,
Yeah.
but the storytelling, the art with Hisco and Bob, Raphael and Kate, it's just epic and so expansive. And I think that it normalizes
Yes.
Latinx people in this world.
Especially since we shoot in San Antonio and, it's San Antonio and you never see any. When you think of Texas, you don't think, oh, that used to be part of Mexico. And now you do.
Thank you.
Hiromi, you have the next question.
So I think this show finally arrived. But it delayed about 2.5 years, I guess. So it's much longer than usual because of the COVID. So how do you overcome this long blank?
Well, you have to find another job. And
we both have other jobs.
We're both very blessed to have other TV series that we can do in between. And this really remains like a passion project.
Right.
And it's like
very special.
Yeah. A work of art that we're so proud to be a part of. And we would literally shoot 2 shows and then take 3 months off and then 2 more episodes
and then 3 months off. Like it was literally like a year and a half to make this season.
Yes.
And we have not even seen each other until we started doing press for it. Although I guest starred on her show with Love and my new show on Hulu, Maggie, we're hoping she plays my mom on that show next season.
We're just going to keep working together as long as we possibly can.
But it's in a weird, in a way it's not easy because you kind of lose the linear, you're like, okay, where was I 3 months ago? Where was I 2 years ago?
We have to go into Amazon and we have to watch it again.
You have to watch it to remind ourselves like where we were.
Yeah.
There's a big gap there.
There is that.
With a few minutes left, Jamie Steinberg, you have the last question.
Well, Angelique, I love the relationship between Alma and Becca. I think this season, it's such a beautiful arc the two of you share, and there's a real chemistry that you see. You find it believable that you both are sisters. Talk about finding that dynamic, between the two of you this season in particular, where you are more bonded than you were in season 1.
Well, I think we've been working together, Rosa and I, now for almost 5 years since the incarnation of the show when we first started season 1. And we hang out socially, like on our own also. And we've been through ups and downs together. I'm older than her. So in real life, I'm like her big sister. But ironically, the relationship kind of is the same. But I would say like, there isn't really like a week that goes by that we're not talking. She's obviously incredibly malleable and a true, I would say, force of nature. And I've always loved her work like for years and years. And you can speak to this too. Like, it's unbelievable that the way that they write us is so right on. Like literally that's how we talk on set.
Right.
And
fast.
We talk so fast. We're always talking over each other. And like,
they have like a buddy comedy going on inside of Undone.
So do you.
No, but I'm bitter that I'm not in the scenes with them because I'm always the one that they're like either talking about or trying to help or heal. But the two of them, I think a breakout. I see spinoff.
There could be, but during COVID and during the season, Rosa, and she'll speak on this. She has spoken about this. She lost her mom. And I have 2 small children and I've kind of welcomed her into my home. And she's kind of like part of my family at this point. And I think that during the filming, especially right around that time, we really just came together and we really held each other up during that. So I think that it comes out in the acting in the show.